Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I'm your host, William Tapley, also known as the third eagle of the apocalypse and the co-prophet of the end times. The topic for this program is the mystical meaning of the numbers 444 and 1111, both of which people are seeing a great deal of these days, myself included. I believe these are signs from God that we are in the end times. Both of these numbers are found in Bible prophecy, and both of them refer to a single person, and that is our next and last president, President Barack Obama. Let's see how these numbers are derived from the numbers for God and for man. The number for man is the number 2, because that symbolizes a man and a woman. The number for God, of course, is 3, because that represents the Trinity. The problem comes when you put 2 in front of 3, or man in front of God. If you remember the movie The Number 23 from Hollywood, even those scriptwriters recognize that 23 is an evil number in prophecy, because, as I said, it puts man in front of God. Another way to express this is man over God, or the fraction 2/3. And the fraction 2/3 is where we get the evil number 666. The fraction 2/3 symbolizes man exalting himself over God, and the resulting decimal is 0.666. Of course, we know from Revelation that 666 is the number of the Antichrist. And when you multiply 2/3 times 2/3, you get the decimal 0.444. Therefore, we know that 444 is an evil number. That's the number that many people are seeing, and it is the number of Barack Obama. Let's look in Bible prophecy, where we will discover the numbers 444, 1111, and 23. In Daniel chapter 8, he uses the phrase 2300 days, evening and morning, to symbolize the length of time of the reign of the Antichrist. 2300 days is a symbolic number. It is not meant to be taken literally. The 2/3, again, symbolizes the Antichrist. It's an evil number. And of course, we're all familiar with the number 666 for the Antichrist, as found in the book of Revelation. In fact, the number 4 is a very significant end times number in and of itself. For example, there are 4 horsemen in the book of Revelation. There are 4 beasts which come up out of the sea in Daniel chapter 7, including the leopard, which signifies Barack Obama. In fact, the whole structure of the book of Revelation is built around the number 4, not the number 7, as many Bible scholars believe. The first 3 chapters consist of letters that St. John wrote to the 7 churches. The next 2 chapters describe St. John in heaven. The next 15 chapters are the end time chapters, and the last 2 chapters describe the New Jerusalem. Notice there are 22 chapters in all, because 23 would be an evil number. When you see the number 444, that is a warning from God about the presidency of Barack Obama. Barack Obama is our 44th president, and he was elected on the 4th of November. In Daniel chapter 11, practically the whole chapter is about Barack Obama. The first 12 verses are divided up into a 444 sequence. The last 15 verses have 4 items embedded in the first 5, the second 5, and the last 5 verses. Chapter 11 talks about the last king of the south and the last king of the north. Barack Obama is the last king of the south because his forebears came from Kenya, which is due south of Jerusalem. Now, if we look at the number 1111, we are really talking about another expression of the number 4. Oftentimes in the Bible, the number 4 itself as a digit is not used, but rather 4 items are described. For example, I gave before the 4 beasts which come up out of the sea, or in the book of Revelation, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Let me read several more examples from the book of Revelation, where 4 items are used rather than the number 4. 4 items are symbolized by 11:11. In Revelation chapter 18, verse 12, we find gold, silver, precious stones, and pearls. Also, we find linen, purple, silk, and scarlet, all different types of clothing. In verse 13, we find cinnamon, odors, ointment, and frankincense. And also we find wine, oil, flour, and wheat. I mentioned earlier in chapter 11 where Daniel uses 4 items embedded in the last 15 verses. In verse number 33, Daniel writes, "And they shall fall by sword, by fire, by captivity, and by spoil." 4 items. And in verse number 38, he writes, "He shall worship the god Maozim with gold, silver, precious stones, and things of great price." And in verse number 43, the 4 items are treasures, gold, silver, and precious things. Thus we see that the number 4 can signify all of these items, but also the number 11:11. And also we should remember that when you see 6 ones in a row, then you are symbolizing, of course, the Antichrist. A few years ago, after I had purchased a new pickup truck, as I was driving along, a flash of light came up from the odometer, and at the same time a crackling sound. I immediately thought I had an electrical problem, but when I looked at the odometer, it read 11,111.1. That is 6 ones. Of course, I knew immediately that I did not have an electrical problem, but rather the Lord was giving me another warning. Whether you see the number 444, or 11:11, or 6 ones, or 666, these are all numbers of the end times. They are all warnings from our Lord. They are all found in the Bible. And we need to know specifically that 444 and 11:11 refer to our next and last president, President Barack Obama. And I'm not saying that we should oppose him. We should pray for him. He is found in Bible prophecy. These are very serious times that we are in. But remember, God does not give these warnings to scare us, but rather to prepare us. And if you would like more information, simply write to the address you see on your screen.